You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Now, of course, I'm sure you all know, the Queen has died, and I got an email from a listener just a few minutes ago, John. He writes, I hope you get these emails, which I obviously do because I'm reading. I get all the emails. I know I don't respond to all of them. I respond to a lot of them, but sometimes it's hard to respond to all the DMs and everything. But all you guys, I do read. If you send me correspondence, I do read it, even if I don't respond to it. Okay? I do read it all. DMs, instant messages, and emails. I do read it all. And Kathy does too. You know, she helps me do that. Kathy's like my social media secretary, social media manager, and all that stuff.
Let's not sugarcoat it.
But John here,
personal slave.
He writes, he says, I know England is a friend, at least now, despite our history. Why is her death all over the American news and will be for a week? Do Americans really care? John writes. Okay. It is going to be a huge, huge event in the news, and as
it should be.
Well,
I think
for a number of reasons, and I'll tell you why the death of Queen Elizabeth will be all over the news for a while. One, she's been queen longer than most people on the planet Earth have been alive.
Yeah,
there's probably I don't know how many people in England that were alive before she was queen when her dad was the king. So she's the only queen, really, that most everyone alive has ever known.
We've all grown up with her.
It's
unless you're over 70 years old, like my parents and your mom.
Yeah,
everybody's just known her since they were born.
That's right. So she's been queen for 70 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's a historical event. Her death.
Yeah. After
so long, she's the longest reigning queen. And no one will probably break this record, at least not while any of us are alive, because we're not going to be long enough for that. But
exactly.
This record will probably be there for hundreds of years, if not forever.
Yeah.
So it's historical. The funeral is going to be insane because there has not been a funeral for a queen, since Queen Victoria, right? Because before Elizabeth and
you have two big events coming. You have
let's go through the
of probably not that'll be bigger than Diana's.
I don't remember
tell you that.
I don't remember offhand when Queen Victoria died, but
I don't know.
But she was the last queen, right? Because the queen, I know there's like the queen mother, because we had kings. So it's her
father
deal.
When he died, Queen Elizabeth's dad, was that a big? What was his name? Edward?
Yeah, the stutterer.
Was that a big funeral?
Yeah, but he wasn't king that long, and then her uncle was
king. Though.
Then her uncle was king that abdicated, and then her grandfather. I think was it Edward? Excuse me, guys.
Do you think this will be a bigger funeral than Diana?
It'd be big. Oh yeah, of course. So there hasn't been a queen funeral in a long time.
Right.
So it's a historical event, so that's a big thing. Then you got to have Charles become the king, and there's a big ceremony for that.
The coronation.
And he's going to be, all that. It's going to be humongous, okay?
Yeah.
And then there's going to be, after all that, it's going to get gossipy with Harry and Meghan. Will King Charles reinstate all this stuff?
Oh, yeah, this will go on for a while.
So it's a big thing. And also the cable news, in particular Fox News. Fox News, they have Sky News over in England. We're going to see Steve Hilton and who's the jerk? Piers Morgan. I know his name. I just wanted to say the jerk. We're going to see Piers Morgan, and they're going to be on Fox nonstop. But Fox has a lot of connections to England and the Commonwealth through the Murdochs. They got Sky News over there, so it's going to be overblown on Fox. And then also the people in the cable news are kind of elitist. They like to think of themselves as American royalty, like they're like equal to the royal family. So it's going to be all over the place. So whether or not Americans care about the passing of the Queen, it's going to be all over the news for weeks and weeks and weeks. I find it interesting, and I'll be watching it, and I will be watching when Charles officially becomes the king. I guess he is the king now.
They're calling him King Charles today.
But he has to get all that coronation stuff because we'll never get to see this again, probably.
Well, I'm excited about the coronation because I've never seen a coronation, and my mom remembers when Elizabeth was coronated. She saw that in the 50s or early 50s, I guess it happened, and my mom was a kid.
Yeah.
She was like 10, 11. And she grew up in Canada, so of course it was a big deal. And my mom, they followed all that stuff because they think they're English over there. But I think she deserves certainly a much bigger send-off than John McCain.
Yeah.
But I think she deserves a huge send-off. She is an icon. She's been queen, like you said, for most people's lives. She has a long history with not only our country, with pretty much every country on the planet. She's had relationships with almost every world leader you can think of. She is a classy lady. She has been through a lot of scandal with her disastrous family that just can't seem to get their act together. And she's had to put out a lot of fires along the way. And she has always maintained her composure, her grace, and everything. People like to say she's cold and this and that. Nobody really thought about that till Diana came along. And Diana was a big crybaby all the time, crying how nobody loved her and trying to get attention. The queen was always poised and always put her country first, maybe even sometimes before her own family, but it was a sense of duty she had to her country and her legacy, and I respect her for that. And I have nothing negative to say about Queen Elizabeth. I think she's an amazing woman, and I pray she rests in peace, and I think she deserves a huge funeral, and I, for one, want to see it and show her respect, and I'm very curious how they're going to do it. I'm sure they've been planning it for a while because her health has been failing for a little bit. But it was interesting because the doctor called them. We saw reports on the Daily Mail this morning that the doctor had called the family to Scotland, which was her favorite place in Balmoral, and to come to her bedside. So I thought, okay, she's got a couple days, and then she died today. So something must have happened because I was talking to my mom, who's a nurse, and she said she must have had a stroke or some kind of event that precipitated, that caused this. All of a sudden, you got to rush because she said she's obviously not going to make it. She's dying. That's why he called the whole family. So she thinks she had a stroke or something to, get everybody there. I don't know if Harry made it on time. He just left England. So I'm glad. I think he saw the Queen before he left, and now he's flying back to Scotland with his horrible wife. But I think I hope the news does not focus on the drama of Harry and Meghan, because Meghan would like nothing more than to make it about her, because she is the ultimate narcissist. So I hope nobody talks about her or Harry or that stupid drama. I mean, who cares? Let's talk about the Queen on the news, her legacy, and Charles and and his coronation, which I'm very interested, because they all get coronated in the chair in Westminster Abbey. I've seen that chair, and it's this big, huge, very nondescript, boring wooden chair. It's right in the middle of Westminster Abbey, and every monarch has been coronated in that chair since Henry VIII. It's extremely historic, and so I'm sure that's where he'll be coronated.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
Very cool.
So I'll be watching it this week.
Oh, yeah,
and
me too.
Listen, but believe me, the news they're not gonna take too much of a break trashing Trump, but they do also like it because it takes away from all of Biden's problems. So no, we'll be following it and we'll be watching it, and I know we have a lot of listeners in the UK, and I know they're concerned and they're following it and everything too. So that's why it's going to be all over the news for several weeks probably. So just deal with it, get used to it, and that's what it's going to be. Now, there's a lot of things going on today that are just terrible things. And President Trump is threatening to sue Fox News. And Fox News, they ran a Lincoln Project ad.
A horrible ad.
Now, I'm going to read this story about this from Mediaite. I am not going to play the ad. I'm making an editorial choice not to play the ad, and I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to play it. It's so vile and disgusting against President Trump. I don't want to put it on this podcast. It's going to be all over the place. Listen, this ad's going to be all over the place, okay? The Lincoln Project paid to run some ads somewhere on Fox. I don't know if it was a local Fox affiliate or nationally. They're going to get so much free publicity with this ad because everyone's going to be talking about it. Now, because of the passing of the Queen, it's not going to be talked about as much as it would have, but President Trump is plenty ticked about this ad.
That's his reaction if you want to read it on Truth.
It is, yeah. So I'm going to go through this article on Mediaite, and President Trump spoke to us on True Social about it, and it's pretty good stuff.
It's a very disgusting. It's full. This ad, and you've seen a lot of political ads. This ad is full of hatred and anger. I mean, when you hear this ad, you can Google it since Brian doesn't want to play it.
I'm not going to play it.
You will feel like sick. Like it's so, you really get a sense of the pure anger and the fact that they played it on Fox. We've known for a few weeks now that Fox has shifted into full anti-Trump mode. Now they're going full throttle with this. This is full throttle. No holds barred. That's the path they have chosen.
Let me read what Trump wrote on Truth Social, and I mean it. I'm not going to play this. This ad is so disgusting.
Yeah, it is. It's bad.
It's so vile that I really don't even want to talk about it, but we've got to. So here's what President Trump wrote about this ad that was put together by the Lincoln Project. Those never Trumpers
George Conway
at the Lincoln Project.
Ann Coulter, all those people.
He says, the perverts and lowlifes of the Lincoln Project are back on. Where else? Fox News. I thought they ran away to the asylum after the last catastrophic campaign with charges made against them that were big-time sleaze.
Yep.
The Paul Ryan-run Fox only has high standards for Trump ads, but not for anyone else. The perverts should not be allowed to false advertise, and Fox News should not allow it to happen. See y'all in court. And there's a typo. He misspelled Paul Ryan's name. He spelled it R-Y-U-N. I have typos all the time. Believe me, that'll be the main thing they focus on in the media, that he had a typo with his thumbs when he typed that out. I guess there's on an edit feature. Let me tell you, I have deleted more posts to social media because of typos like that. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, it happens to everybody.
It happens to everybody, but that's what they'll focus in on. Well, let me tell you, okay? And let me tell you, it plays into why I'm not running the. Of course, you all listening to this program know what the Lincoln Project are all about. Fox News did not have to run that ad, and here's the thing about it: Fox News, they're not giving President Trump equal time.
Is that why he's suing, or what are the grounds of his suing?
Well, he has not been on Fox News in months now. And there's been major breaking news, with the break-in, now this. They could get President Trump on the phone anytime on Fox News to respond to any of this. But Fox News, President Trump is right with Paul Ryan. They have made an editorial decision. So Fox News right now, they are no longer, they have made an official decision. It's really almost like a format change, right? Like a radio station.
CNN is going more towards the middle, and Fox is going towards the left now.
Yeah, what Fox News has done is a complete format away from news, and have become an official. They're not news anymore. Fox News is officially an advocacy organization for the Never Trumpers. I mean, that's just what they're all about. I know they have, I'll have the Queen on, right? We're talking about that. That's just filler. Their whole mission with their political coverage is to be negative against Trump, damage Trump, stop Trump, and that includes people that he endorses and those who support him. And they're not even hiding it now.
It's not just that and this is not the Democrats fueling this. This is the Republicans. And even the ones that you think are on your side are not. They are very scared right now, and they're really amping things up. And I'm expecting an indictment any day. They are really amping things up because the election is coming. And they see the internal polls, and they see the writing on the wall, and they are terrified. Trump, and like I've said, whatever happens with him with the presidency in 2024, he is working on reshaping the entire Republican Party in his image. And that means getting rid of all the swamp creatures, including Mitch McConnell and all these other guys, and putting in MAGA people. He wants to reshape the Republican Party from Rhino to MAGA. MAGA.
Yeah.
And they are all, and that just doesn't mean politicians. That means other people in Washington that he can have influence over and power. And they are terrified of the power and the influence he has with the American people. They have not been successful in getting the American people to turn on him. Just the opposite. So now they're going to try to indict him, throw him in jail, and they're going to do whatever they have to do to try to stop his influence over their party before the election in November. So you're going to see, Bannon's going to get in trouble. Bannon's going to end up in jail, no doubt about it, because he's going to go in front of a D.C. jury, and they got him on these other things, or in New York rather, where he was arrested because of this stuff with this fundraiser. I think he will. I don't know how he can get a fair trial in liberal New York City. I think he'll definitely end up in prison, and I think that's where they want to see Trump. They want to just, think about all the men that have been associated with him and what's been going on. And this is what they want. They see the writing on the wall for November. They're absolutely petrified. And Fox News is in with the swamp, and they have made a collective decision.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter what the ratings are. It doesn't matter about our sponsors. If the people stop watching, we don't care. We cannot be party to helping Trump or MAGA take over this party.
Let me tell you how. Let me tell you,
and they're going to do it no matter what.
Let me tell you why they do this, okay, at Fox News. They do it for a number of reasons, and some of them are not the reasons you think, okay? They're obvious, Paul Ryan on the board of directors has all of his, Republican connections, and they make all their money off of these deals. They need Trump out of the way, so they got to advocate for that. But another reason they do it is, this thing with the Lincoln Project. The Republican establishment spend big money advertising, and Democrats advertise on Fox too. Val Demings, I've been talking a lot about, is the Democrat running against Marco Rubio here in Florida, and I've been talking about this race a lot because Marco Rubio is in trouble against Val Demings. A guy called me on the radio today, and he said Marco Rubio is really coasting in on Val Demings' coattail, or I'm sorry, they said Marco Rubio's coasting in on Ron DeSantis' coattails on the ballot.
He has a low energy
But
campaign.
he could lose this to this Democrat. And when I turn on Fox News, there's a Val Demings, who's the Democrat running for the Senate against Marco Rubio, and pretty much every commercial break. So Fox News, nationally and throughout the country, even on a local level, make a tremendous amount of money on ad buys from the Democrat Party and from the Republican establishment, and their associated companies and connections and donors. There's a lot of money to be made by that. So they're beholden to that. It's more than just Paul Ryan being the wizard behind the curtain in Oz. That's a part of it, but a lot of it are these massive ad buys that both political parties do. But right now, as we speak, Fox News is on a vendetta. It's like, it's like Moby Dick, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Well, it's the Trump derangement syndrome.
It is. They are on a mission of one thing and one thing only: stopping Trump, erasing him from public life and politics, and destroying everyone that he endorses, like J.D. Vance, Carrie Lake, Dr. Oz, whoever else.
Well, it's kind of like when CNN, when Trump first won the nomination back in 2016, and CNN went that route of complete nonstop Trump bashing. And their ratings for a while, their ratings were good because Trump was good for their ratings. But once he was out of office, their ratings really started to tank big time. And until this new company took over, they didn't change tack. They just kept with the Trump bashing. Even though they were losing their audience in droves, they did not care because they felt that they were called to a higher purpose. And they did not care if people stopped watching them. And that's what you're seeing happening with Fox right now. And I'm waiting for the day when Tucker turns on Trump because it's going to happen. I'm telling you, he has a lot of clout over there, but nobody is irreplaceable. No, look at Bill O'Reilly. They got rid of him, and he was the top guy. And they're going to make Tucker turn on this guy. It's going to happen. And, and it's going to happen. And it's going to be a slow drip, very carefully done, okay? You might not even see it coming. But they have decided, no matter what the consequences, through the end of the year, at least till November, they're really amping it up because of the election. At least through November, they're going on full throttle anti-Trump. What happens after that, who knows? But that's what they're doing now before the election because they have told them, the swamp and Paul Ryan, we cannot let these people win. We cannot let all these MAGA candidates get into Washington because it'll spread, it'll destroy us. And in 4 years' time, after a few more election cycles, we'll all be out of here. We'll all be done. So we got to stop it now.
Now, I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much. And those of you that are Patreon supporters, remember, all Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode, as well as my YouTube live streams, everything I do. There's a link to our Patreon page. And the commercial-free podcast, it's the same podcast we do without the commercials. I upload it to the Patreon page. And if you click on the Patreon link, you'll go there. You'll see it. It kind of looks like a Facebook kind of format page, but it's Patreon. And so you get that. And there's other perks too and benefits. On occasion, Kathy and I will do exclusive podcast episodes that are only heard by Patreon supporters. And you guys get a little bit of an insight of what's going on over there on Patreon from us. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every podcast episode. And our top Patreon supporters also have their name listed in the description of all podcast episodes and all of my YouTube videos. I just started adding the top Patreon supporters' names to my YouTube videos about a week and a half ago. But you guys are in there too. And the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, and Macho. Thank you all for your support. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Jewelry makes you feel special, and personalized jewelry is even better. Exclusively on Etsy, the shop specially for you. That's the letter U and all one word. On Etsy.com, sell custom jewelry that's as unique as you are. The items that's specially for you on Etsy come with Chinese, Korean, Japanese, or English text. Whether you want a name on a bracelet, keychain, tie clip, a ring, necklace, and more. They have exactly what you were looking for. Specially for You works with two very talented designers, and their items are handmade in Seoul, South Korea. Ordering is easy. Just go to their shop, specially for you. It's all one word and the letter U on Etsy.com. Place your order, tell them the name you choose, your font, and your language. The items are top quality and shipped directly to you or the recipient of your choice. Everything in the shop looks great. You will be proud to wear and give as a gift jewelry from Specially for You on Etsy.com. In life, it's always best to be kind, be humble, and be free. That's the motto behind the Etsy shop, Free Naked Ink. That's all one word on Etsy.com. Their mission is to promote inner and outer self-love through urban Christian apparel. Free Naked Ink on Etsy carry t-shirts for women of all sizes, including plus size. They also have unisex tees with themes like Don't Fake It Till You Make It. If you face it, God will fix it. Church Girl, and many more. These are great modern Christian tees and totes that all believers will love to wear. You can be who you truly are and still win in life. We are all unique and special in God's eyes, and that's what this shop is all about. Free Naked Ink. That's all one word on Etsy.com. Check them out right now. You'll find great gift items there too. Free Naked Ink on Etsy.com. From speaker and Christian writer Paula Biancalana comes the book Dominion, available online at paulabiancalana.com. Did you know we were all created to manifest God's kingdom government on earth? We are to have dominion over the earth and be fruitful and multiply, as well as engage in fellowship. By cooperating with God's plan, we can occupy our seat of authority and dominion over this earth God created for us. Author Paula Biancalana was commissioned by God to write this book. It's the author's prayer that with dominion, you meditate on the revelation, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that God has imparted to her. She knows that once you begin to read it and meditate on it, that it will be a great blessing to you. Order your copy of Dominion online at paulabiancalana.com. That's PaulaBiancalana. Make sure to check out her other books as well. paulabiancalana.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. You know, this Lincoln Project thing, what it's all about is President Trump's fundraising, the Save America PAC. And what they're accusing him of is raising money through this PAC to support his businesses. And that's what the ad's about. And they're going after him on that. And it fits into this ridiculous absurdity that they put out there this week. They were talking about this on MSNBC and everywhere else. That there's been new developments this week about there's some document involving nuclear weapons that like only presidents even know this document exists. They claim that he had, and it's a valuable document. President Trump is the wealthiest man to ever be president of the United States, and at any point, during, after, at any point, when he became president, he was the wealthiest person to ever be elected president. Mm-hmm. I know he's coming back in 2024 for a second term. Please don't misunderstand what I'm going to say now. But he's also the wealthiest former president who hasn't had to do any book deals or fake corporate gigs or speaking things and all this crap. He's a billionaire many times over. And when someone is as rich, now they claim he's not as rich as he says and he's broke and they don't know what they're talking about. This guy owns skyscrapers in New York City, all right? Have any of you seen his results? If he were not so uber rich, it'd be different. Like the Clintons, right? The Clintons, and they're not the only first family that this is the case with. The Clintons did not own a house until after he was out of the White House. They lived in the governor's mansion. They had like rentals and
they don't want it. They don't investigate their friends. They pick and choose. They go after their political enemies.
So like after the Clintons leave office, the Obamas did a similar thing too, by the way. They all do this, except Trump because he's a billionaire many times over. The Clintons are involved in all this dirty stuff with the uranium and the Clinton Foundation.
It.
That's how former presidents typically they become millionaires because a lot of them. Some of them are rich when they become president, but not all of them, okay? And Donald Trump didn't do any dirty dealings before, during, or after. And to suggest that, I'm listening to this talk about this document that they claim he sold.
What are they saying? He sold some classified?
This highly classified nuclear document sold to some foreign power. They're talking about this on MSNBC like it's real. Yeah. So what I would like to ask these people is this. Think of the most classified document you can. What price tag could he have sold a single document to some foreign power for? How much?
Wait, so let me just, because I don't know what you're talking about. So some foreign government who got one of our classified documents.
They're saying they first off, they just make this stuff up.
I know, but what are they saying? I don't even know what they're saying.
They're claiming that there's a classified document involving nuclear weapons of a foreign country that Donald Trump sold through an auction of a bidding war between two different countries.
Do they have proof of this, or is this another one of their fantasies?
They just make this up at the urinal at MSNBC.
Is this them speculating, or do they have actual?
No, they make
proof?
it up. They make it up, but they talk about like it's true. Okay,
like
they don't say this is speculation. Exactly, like the Russiagate. Exactly, like so whatever their fantasy document is in this transaction.
Trump doing that.
How much money could he have possibly sold this document for? Donald Trump.
Doesn't matter.
No,
he didn't do it.
I know he didn't do it, but in their fantasy. The guy is worth $10 billion plus.
No, he wouldn't do something like that.
Millions of dollars is a lot of money to me, but to Donald Trump, a few $1,000,000 is like cigar money, right? His golf clubs cost more.
Probably something Joe Biden did. That's where they got the idea from, and they're thinking,
ridiculous.
We'll make it like Trump did. Here you got Joe Biden. They have so much evidence and proof of him doing shady things with his son's laptop and all this stuff. And Joe Biden even said things about the Ukraine and all this stuff on camera. But they totally ignore that. He's admitted to things on TV, and they have evidence of all this stuff on his son's laptop and all this. They have like names, documents, texts, emails. I mean, actual proof of dirty dealings. But they let that go. But then they find that then they have this stuff, which is all speculation, zero proof, nothing happening, and they're just railroading this guy because they hate him. I mean, this is called weaponizing the Department of Justice to go after your political
and the media
opponents. That's what they're doing.
If you go through the history of American spies, there's been high-profile spies that have sold secrets to different countries over the years, okay? Jonathan Pollard with Israel. I know that's a controversial thing, but I believe he took $35,000. There were some FBI agents who sold secrets to the Russians back in yesteryear, right? and they did it for money. They weren't rich guys. I've never heard of someone who is a multi-billionaire committing crimes to steal stolen property.
No, he wouldn't do that.
I mean, this is insanity. You know, obviously he didn't do any of this, but the claim is absurd on the face of it. But but see, with these guys, they're dealing in their own reality. See? So in their reality, these things are not only plausible, they're true. And you're not going to convince them of anything. They hate the guy so much. But I'll tell you this. Okay, I'll tell you this. What they're doing right now, they're amping things up. This Lincoln Project thing we were talking about with us, they're amping things up. The arrest today of Steve Bannon, all these things. They're amping these things up.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're 2 months away from the midterms. They're in a complete panic. And I'll tell you, you know, we were talking at the beginning about the news coverage that the Queen's death is going to take. The more I think about it, the American media are very upset that she died now and didn't wait a couple months.
Maybe.
Because they don't have that time to destroy Trump in their minds, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. That is their mission. That this will never end. And we're just going to have to stand firm. And let me tell you, we are going to be dealing with this for the rest of our lives. You know, when President Trump is gone after his second term, wherever MAGA goes after that, whoever is the leading MAGA person is going to have to deal with this. Okay? They're never going to let it go.
Their plan is to vilify Trump and MAGA so much. They were able to do this with the Tea Party, and it fizzled out very quickly. They were
the Tea Party didn't have a leader.
Well, exactly.
Like
That's
Trump.
what I'm saying. But this is not the Tea Party, but they're trying to do to us what they did to the Tea Party, make it go away. And they, like you said, they want to vilify Trump and his supporters. Any politician.
That's right.
They want these people to lose because they want to give the impression that if you align with Trump, you have no political future. That aligning with him is bad. If he wins a lot of these elections in November, he will reshape the party, and you'll see a whole new slew of MAGA politicians coming out over the next 2 years because he's a winner and they want to win. But if he loses a lot of these races, then in their mind, he even says in a lot of his rallies, let's see what happens in November. And I think it's a mistake for him to wait, but that's what he's doing. And it's kind of letting the left know and the swamp know, well, you know, if he loses a lot of these elections, he might not run because he's waiting on those results. And they, more than anything, they don't want Carrie Lake or J.D. Vance or Dr. Oz or Mastriano or any of these Trump-backed people. Meanwhile, he won like over 200 primaries.
And by the way, that
terrifies
them.
That
also goes for Ron DeSantis. You know,
DeSantis.
They're laying off Ron DeSantis because they want him to replace Trump. The minute if that were to happen, they'd go after him just like Trump.
They really are laying off DeSantis, which is interesting.
Whoever the MAGA person is going to be, they're going to go after them. And with Trump, what they think is this: it's like if they cut the head off the snake. Right, and we're the snake, and he's the head of the snake, and that's what they're trying to do, and it's not going to work.
Will grow then, like a hydra or whatever kind of snake that is.
MAGA might have a leader in Donald Trump, and that's true, and he's the leader for life. But it's bigger and beyond him. But the MAGA movement,
I agree,
is a 200-year movement. It's going to be around in 200 years. It's not as a short-term thing like they think it is. The Tea Party, Kathy had mentioned, the Tea Party fell apart because it didn't have a leader. A charismatic leader. It was a leaderless movement.
Right.
We have a leader now. His name's Donald Trump. Now, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to share. What they tried to do with Carrie Lake today is disgusting. Wait till you hear this. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
There's a new podcast that you will want to add to your podcast playlist, the Big Country Little City Podcast. It's a show with two guys from wildly different backgrounds who discuss politics, pop culture, and current events. The hosts were college roommates at West Virginia University. They played basketball together and are still friends, and they have a lot to say, too. Hosted by Big Tree Thomas and Norm DeStorm. Big Tree is from West Virginia. He's funny and all country. Norm DeStorm is from New York City. Their take is unique, thoughtful, educational, and entertaining. The Big Country Little City Podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, and Google Podcast. Add the Big Country Little City Podcast to your playlist right now. There's a fine line between love and hate. Sometimes there's no line at all. Naya Kumari tells all in her autobiography, The Mind Games He Played, available online at kumariworld.com. The Mind Games He Played is about a relationship that will have many wondering, why doesn't she just leave him? Anyone who has felt trapped in such a relationship can empathize and learn from Naya's story. In her compelling story, the wrong guy sweeps her off her feet. She thinks he's only single because his wife passed away. However, she soon learns there are plenty of other reasons. Unfortunately, she doesn't learn them until after she has fallen head over heels. Order your copy of this must-read book, The Mind Games He Played, from author Naya Kumari. Available online at kumariworld.com. You're in business and you have a website, but if you need a website platform that grows with your business and want to break free from the do-it-yourself website building sites, it's time to check out SpiderSavvy.com. SpiderSavvy.com build autonomous websites for professionals. They provide the essentials to establish and grow your online presence. SpiderSavvy.com can help with web design and development, SEO, WordPress hosting, content development, and that's just the beginning. SpiderSavvy.com has been helping their very satisfied customers since 2005, and now they want to help you and your business. Contact them right now. Visit SpiderSavvy.com. That's SpiderSavvy.com. Building the web.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And whatever platform you're listening to us on, make sure you follow, subscribe, and tell everyone about my YouTube channel, Brian Craig, on YouTube, if you don't mind, and subscribe to that. And if you're listening on YouTube, make sure you like the video, okay? But whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, make sure you follow us and subscribe there, too. The Brian Craig Show podcast, we are on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Apple Podcast. If there's a podcast platform, we are on it, all right? So check us out there, the Brian Craig Show podcast. All right, so Kari Lake, they're trying to target Kari Lake. There's a common theme, okay? They were doing this with DeSantis and Trump for a while, but now they want to lay off of our great governor, Ron DeSantis, because they want everybody to think, oh, he's a good guy. You guys drop Trump, get with DeSantis.
I don't think that's why they're laying off DeSantis. I just realized they're laying off DeSantis because it would be fruitless. He's going to win.
No, you're
no
totally
matter,
wrong.
He's going to.
No, I'm not talking about the governor's
This is why they're
race.
laying off him now.
No. They want. Yeah.
It would be a waste of money and time to go after DeSantis now because he's going to win no matter what. Everybody loves him here. And it would just, it's a waste of energy. They want to put their money and time into people they like Marco Rubio, Kari Lake's race. They want to put time and money into races they think they can flip. They can't flip his race. It would be not now. It's too early to go after.
I disagree with you a little bit, but I don't want to talk about DeSantis right now. I want to get to this thing with Kari Lake. So there's many themes going on with these snakes in the Never Trumper movement. And one of them, they like to divide MAGA. They like to try to divide MAGA. So they had this fake news story involving Kari Lake that Kari Lake said she would not be Trump's vice president. And I went and pulled up the audio. And before I even pulled up the audio and listened to it, I had a pretty good idea what she really said. But I went to get it myself. I'm going to play it for you. Here it is, Kari Lake with a bunch of sleazy fake news reporters today.
Did I get everybody?
One more question. Would it have you to be VP? Is that something you would consider?
No, I hate. First of all, I don't like Washington.
Okay, see that? Trump's. Is this something you consider? And she says no, and then she goes in.
Did I get everybody?
One more question. Would it have you to be VP? Is that something you would consider?
No, I hate. First of all, I don't like Washington D.C. Especially don't like it now. It's funny though that question is asked because for so long, many of you in the media have been trying to act like I don't have the skill to run for governor. Now, apparently, I'm so skilled that you think I should be VP. So I take it as a compliment. Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking.
Have you talked to Donald Trump about it?
I talk to President Trump all the time, and I have not talked to him about that now. I am applying for the job of Arizona governor, and I'm reaching out to the people every single day. Where is Katie Hobbs right now? She should be standing right here answering your questions. How often does she talk to you? If you're MSNBC, maybe all the time. But if you want to ask her a pressing question, she cowers, and she's a coward. I'm applying for a job, and the people of Arizona are the hiring manager, and they are my boss. And I am going to be here, much to the chagrin of some of you, not just 4 years as your governor. I'm going to be here 8 years as your governor. So have fun and get used to it, because we are going places, and we're going to have the greatest state in the country. Thank you very much.
Okay, so a couple of things there. So the story that's been circulated around is that Kari Lake says she won't run as Trump's vice president. Well, that's not exactly what she said. She's running for governor. The election is 2 months away. Mm-hmm. She can't go out, even if she wanted to be Trump's vice president, she can't go out and say right now, yes, because people say, well, why should I support her for governor? She's just going to leave in a year and start running, and then after 2 years resign from office. You know, she can't do that.
She knows exactly what the media is doing, because she worked in the media. She knows all their tricks.
Yeah.
They can't trip her up.
So, she's very good. She's very quick.
Good. She oozes confidence.
And that's exactly what they were
Just the way
trying
she talks,
to do.
Yeah, the way she talks, the way she carries herself. She's very confident, but at the same time, very humble. You know, the way she speaks. Like, I'm running for a position, and I'm applying for a job, and they're the managers, and they're going to decide whether they want me to work for them. And that's the way a politician should be. I work for you. It's your decision if you want to hire me, this and that. She has confidence, but she's humble. And that's a rare combination for people. And that's the way you should be. And that's why people like her.
Yeah. So that's exactly what's going on here. Of course, she very well could end up being vice president or president one day, but she's running for governor. There's an election in 2 months. She can't go out and say, yes, in 2024, I'm going to run for vice president. It would just be, and they were hoping she would. See, the media don't understand that Kari Lake is the Wonder Woman of politics, right? She's got the lasso of truth. She's got those bracelets where all the questions bounce right up. They can't catch her. They can't trip her up. These reporters are out of their league. And I'm really surprised, though, that they go after her with tough questions still, because she really embarrasses these reporters. So Steve Bannon went to the courthouse today in New York and surrendered himself. Let me play this audio. This is Steve Bannon walking into the courthouse to surrender, to be arrested, right? And strip searched and all that goes with it. Listen.
This is an irony. On the very day the mayor of this city has a delegation down on the border, they're persecuting people here and trying to stop on the border. 60 days from today. 60 days from today.
Take a step back. Take a step back.
60 days from today is an election.
Stop hurting America! Stop hurting America, you greasy grifter! Stop hurting America, you greasy two-bit grifter!
This lunatic lady, stop greasing America, you two-bit grifter.
Is he going to get a mugshot now? So he has been arrested.
Yes, there'll be a mugshot.
That's what they want for Trump.
Yeah, the Trump mugshot.
I think
exactly
I think a lot of this too with Bannon is
exactly
not just
what
about Bannon. They're setting the stage here. Okay, this is all very carefully planned, and he was like Trump's advisor, and they're getting him on a totally different thing with this fundraiser, with this wall thing, but they're setting the stage, and they're going to get his mugshot. They're going to get him in cuffs or whatever visuals they can get out there today, I'm sure. And this is a precursor for Trump. They're getting people ready and used to the idea that, and it's a warning shot to Trump. This is a warning. We're coming for your next. And this is all done very timely and, very well thought out by these people. They have thought about this. They have planned this. And because he was pardoned when they were going to bring him up on federal charges or something, and then Trump pardoned him. So now they're getting him in New York on these state charges. He's been arrested, And like I said, they're setting the stage, they're getting people ready, and they're warning Trump, yours is coming, you're next. So when you get indicted, when Trump gets indicted, that's not an arrest. That's not a conviction, correct? That doesn't equal a mugshot. I'm not familiar with indictments and on this level.
Well, they can get prosecutors go to a grand jury to get an indictment,
which they'll get because it's going to be in D.C. and they're all liberals.
So then, after they get the indictment, because it'll be federal prosecutors, the attorney general will have to decide if they're going to prosecute with that indictment. If they decide to prosecute, they got to charge him after the indictment. To be charged, he has to do what Steve Bannon did. He'd have to be arrested.
Oh my God!
And that's strip searched.
Well, you can assume.
And mugshot.
Oh my gosh.
That's what they want.
You can assume.
And that's a video they would leak out, the strip search video.
You can assume that if Trump gets indicted, it will lead to an arrest. Can you imagine? I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
I think it'll be in two phases.
It's a disgusting thing. I feel
I
so
believe,
bad for him.
I believe it's highly possible that they already have the indictment and it's sealed and they haven't let us know yet. And they're
Which is very
figuring out
upsetting.
what to do. With an indictment, I think they'll first at least talk about, if not go to Trump.
They will get that mugshot of Trump. They will do it.
They're gonna get.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
And the strip shirts, it's all going to happen.
They want to take the indictment.
This is a warning to Trump. What's going on now?
Yeah, they want to take the indictment.
Yeah.
And try to make a deal with him to drop out of politics for the rest of his life, which he's going to tell him no, and then they'll charge him and get the mugshot.
I think you're
do.
right. I think they will try to make a deal with him. I think they will take him in. And they will say, look, we will drop everything. We will walk away from this.
Yeah.
You will not get arrested. You will not have a strip search. Think of your family. There'll be no mugshot. This will all go away. But you have to drop out of politics. Never campaign again. Never have another rally again. That's the deal. And that is definitely what they're going to offer him. I don't think he'd take it. But I mean, do you think Trump really wants to get strip searched and have a mugshot? You really think he wants to go through that?
He'll do it if he has to. He'll do it if he has to.
Well, you don't know.
He's not going to take a deal. He's not going to take a deal with him.
I wouldn't be so sure.
No, I know he won't. I
hope so.
He'll
but
never,
I mean,
he'll never take
that's
a deal.
A scary idea of him having a mugshot and getting strip searched and put in jail. He does not want to give them that kind of visual. He does not want to give them that satisfaction.
Yeah.
Of having him in an orange suit.
He will,
that's their fantasy.
He'll go to jail if he has to, and then he'll still run and win. He will. Now, I want to, unrelated to what we've been talking about,
see what happens.
I want to play this one last soundbite before we end. This is just very strange, okay? This is just very strange. This is from Morning Joe. He had a guest on talking about mask solidarity. Listen to this. This is Morning Joe today.
It can be freeing to not wear a mask on a plane or a train, on the subway. That's fine. But I think we just need to acknowledge that there are still people in communities for whom this is a everyday fact of life that they have to think about. And masking remains an act of solidarity and respect for vulnerable people. That includes people with disabilities, with chronic conditions like asthma, as well as for hard-hit communities like Native and Black communities, especially Hispanic communities that have been hit especially hard by this virus.
So when you wear a mask, you are supporting and you're in solidarity with minorities. What is she
Because viruses are racist. They attack minorities more than white people, I guess.
One of the many problems liberals have, they got a lot of problems. They got more problems than we
do.
could even list, right? But one of the problems that liberals have, a lot of them are just they're too intellectualizing of everything. They have too much education that has taught them nothing but liberal gobbledygook, and they have all these long sentences and words, and they overanalyze everything, and it really is all gobbledygook, meaningless nonsense. Just go out and get a job and do a job. They're just endlessly talking about stupid things. Mask solidarity? Are you kidding me? Our daughter just got back from Los Angeles, California, and they're having the electricity problems out there, and she was telling us how she saw people charging their Teslas with gas-powered generators because the electricity's out in the house because the brownouts. I
think she realized how stupid liberals are this last trip to California because she said to me, she
really did.
She said, liberals are just so stupid. And I'm like, well, yeah. And she said, in California, she said they have all these ideas about going green, but she said their execution is horrible and it actually is counterproductive. And she said, for example, she's like, when you go to the grocery store, they have like plastic bags.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know why they're still using plastic bags, but she said their plastic bags are 3 times as thick as ours. So they use 3 times as much plastic. I don't know what they're trying to do there.
You know why? You know why that is? The plastic grocery bags.
I'm surprised they don't use those reusable germ-infested bags.
Oh, when I see those Birkenstock-wearing hippies with their reusable dirty bags at the grocery store, they're always
yeah.
Okay. We have plastic bags in Florida at the grocery store. They have plastic bags in California. Our daughter says they're 3 times thicker in California than in Florida. They tell themselves the thicker bags are stronger, so you use fewer of them because they can hold more weight than the thinner bags.
But you're still using the same amount then.
You're using liberalism is stupid, okay?
That's
it makes no sense. It's just stupid.
Was the point. And then she said she saw people charging their Teslas with gas generators.
That's what I said a minute ago.
Yeah, she told us that. So, and a few other things.
Where's the news media on that stupid?
You're not gonna hear it.
I would love to see someone charging their electric car with a gas-powered generator and thinking that they're still saving the planet and they're green.
Yeah, well, the reason, and this was, they had somebody on, Charlie Hurt was on Outnumbered, and I like Charlie Hurt a lot. And one of the ladies on there said, I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy nut, and or maybe he said it, and they said, but I think the liberals want everybody on electric power so they can turn off the grid if they want to and have complete control. And he looked at her and he said, that's exactly what they want to do. He said, if you rely solely on electricity like that, he said, what's happening in California will happen everywhere. They will be able to shut down the grid. Mm-hmm. And they will be able to have a brownout and control exactly how much you consume.
That's exactly right.
And our daughter got us one of these thermostats that's like one of these high-tech computerized thermostats that connects to your Alexa, right? And I felt bad because she got it for us for Christmas. This was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I never installed it because I'm very weird about my air conditioning, and I was just afraid it wouldn't work right and all this. So then I read this article that if you have one of those connected to your Alexa or your home thing, that they can actually go in and control your thermostat.
Well, they were doing it. They were doing it in Texas.
Yeah, that they can actually use your devices to control your thermostat.
Well, what they were doing...
So I told Emily, that is not going into my house.
What they were doing is, say, for example, you have your thermostat set at 75. They can turn it down. They can turn it up to 79.
Right.
But your thermostat at home still says 75. You don't know that they even did it.
It's crazy.
So we didn't install it.
That's what they want. They can use these devices and use these power grids and all this stuff to control your energy consumption. And liberals are all about control because they think they know better than you on everything. You're stupid. You're destroying the planet. You're the reason for all the problems in the world. And if you would just listen to them, the world would be a perfect place. They have a God complex.
That's right. Now listen,
these people.
We're going to say goodbye for today, but everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
From author M.C. Stokes comes the book, The End of Forever, available on Amazon. Immortality was portrayed as amazing in fictional stories of vampires and such. But for Boone Reed, it was anything but. It was a curse. He was doomed to meet his wife, the love of his long, unending life, over and over again, only to lose her each time. While the joy of loving her was immense, the pain of losing her was unbearable. But this time, the 7th time he meets her, he learns she has the gift of healing. Could she heal the curse? Could she finally help him to die and rest peacefully? Find out when you read The End of Forever from author M.C. Stokes. Available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon.